Hi, I'm Danielle Lowman from the Navajo Nation, and I am a professional breakaway roper. I never used to really rope a whole lot when I was young because my dad wanted me to be a better rider instead of a roper. In junior high and high school, my dad got cancer, and then he would always go to the hospital and I would have to stay at home and take care of the horses and whatnot. But there were times where he couldn't come outside on weekends, and on weekends my uncles, they would rope all weekend long. So I would go and hang out with my uncles, and pretty soon I started to rope almost every weekend with them. One day, my dad come outside, he seen me on a horse out there roping, and I could just see him standing by the fence in his shortcuts, standing there like, what in the world are they doing? And then I remember the next day, he come home with a healing dummy behind his truck. And he goes, if you want to be a team roper and you want to be a good team roper, you got to learn how to heal. I'm like, wow, okay. So I started healing, and that was our thing every night. It started from then. I got into high school. He would take me to these amateur rodeos, Indian rodeos. He would haul me to all those ropings, and I would always team rope. And we'd watch the breakaway, and he'd be like, you need a breakaway. I'm like, Dad, I don't have a horse. I don't like it. It's too fast. Like, I'm not going to be any good at it. I ended up losing him my senior year, and I kind of stepped away from rodeo for like a year, and then I went to college the following year, and they wanted to give me a scholarship for team roping. So I went, and then my coach was like, you just need to start breakaway roping. Just try it. We'll pay your fees, whatever, just as long as you try it. So I said, okay. So I started to do the breakaway roping, and I didn't have a breakaway horse then. I started mounting up, just ask my friends if I could ride their horses, and they were like, yeah, get on. So I kind of started like that. After a while, I started to enjoy it, and then I wanted to do it because my dad always wanted me to do it, and I was a child and wanted to go against him. But after I lost him and he wasn't around, I was like, I think I want to do it, I want to try it. So in college, that's all I was into for a minute, just breakaway, trying to figure out how to get better. I think it was in 2019, finally, I went to Reno, and they were having this bonus all-around deal to whoever won the highest money of the day would get $2,500. I ended up winning the team roping that day, and my partner was like, man, if you just enter that breakaway, you probably win the deal. I ran up there. I wasn't even entered. So they put me 10th out, and I come out and I just go do a run, and all of a sudden I pull the last check, last hole in the breakaway, and I'm like, holy crap, this is gonna be close. And I think they were announcing who was close to me, and it was Larry D. And I was like, man, this is gonna be crazy if I beat Larry D. I've never even dreamed of it, beating her. And then when they announced that I won it, I was like, holy smokes. So, just having that confidence of doing good and placing, just that momentum going into that day, it has brought me to where I'm at today. One of my traveling partners, she wanted to rope with me, and she was like, come with me, let's just go. She was like, I'm roping at Fort Worth, and that was the first year they had Fort Worth. And I was like, all right, well, I gotta quit my job, I guess. So I get laid off, and I take off to the wildfire, and not knowing when I was gonna come back because we're on my traveling partner's time. I'm not gonna say, hey, I need to go home or whatever. She's like, all right. So we come out here, we enter the wildfire. I end up winning it with another girl, and we stayed here, and then we went to Fort Worth. So having that confidence of winning the wildfire, and then watching her at Fort Worth compete in the rodeo, she gave me her companion pass ticket. She goes, all right, just follow this direction, and then just ask around. I didn't really know where I was going in the Dickies Stadium back then. So I'm sitting there, and my friend's up, and I'm videoing her, and I was like, man, it'd be so cool to compete here one day. That's when I was thinking to myself, man, I gotta find me a breakaway horse, a better one. And I ended up finding Little Mo, and he was so fast, and that's the one thing I loved about him, is he was so fast and free. I like that. He gave me so much confidence. Like I was placing, I was able to, you know, afford going down the road and seasoning him at the same time. That's when, I think in 2022, I found Shabiz, and she was a backup horse, and she was on the road with me. You know, she would go to some rodeos, not really, you know, still a seasoning process kind of deal, but luckily I had a little Mo with me still. And then in 2023, I went and rodeoed on her all year long, and man, she just stepped up. Like that's when we really got into sync. The 6-way has really been a big factor in our feeding program. You know, it's just very easy to feed. Like you don't have to, you know, mix this, mix that. You know, we're stopping all the time, like, you know, healing, breakaway, like their joints are something that takes big impact, and, you know, that's always helping them. And I believe that just having the 6-way in the trailer is one of the biggest things we can have going down the road.